Finally, we're going to look at horizontal stretches and shrinks of our function f of x. This is represented by an a value, but it's on the inside with x inside a grouping symbol. So let's remember our little acronym HIO, horizontal inside opposite. So in this case, the opposite of multiplying a number by x is dividing it or looking at the reciprocal. So we need to look at the reciprocal, which is 1 over a. So when we state that our graph is stretching away from the y-axis, a horizontal stretch, that means that our 1 over a value is greater than 1. 1 over a is greater than 1, and we are widening in that case. And then the graph shrinks towards the y-axis and away from the x when our 1 over a, our reciprocal, is between 0 and 1, and this causes the graph to get narrower. So let's look at a couple of examples. I'm going to suggest that you pause and rewind and rewatch these a couple of times just to make sure that you understand this one. This one's probably the most confusing of all, so I really want you to be focusing on this. All right, so let's take a look. We want to write g of x, the transformed f of x. F of x, in this case, we're starting with our absolute value parent function x, and we want to horizontal stretch by a factor of 2. Remember, if the horizontal stretch is a factor of 2, this is our 1 over a value. All right, so we've got to keep that in mind when we write our rule for g of x. G of x is going to equal f of 1/2 x. Remember, it's got to be the reciprocal. So this is our actual a value, and it's the reciprocal of what was stated. So if we're stating that we're stretching by a factor of 2, that's our 1 over a. Our a value is the reciprocal of that. And remember that it goes inside the grouping symbols. G of x then, we need to substitute our actual function, which is absolute value of x that we started with. And so our g of x is going to be absolute value of 1/2 x. Remember that the 1/2 needs to go inside the grouping symbols. All right, let's look at another example. We're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be thinking reciprocal as soon as we read something. So in this case, we have x squared. That's our quadratic parent function, and we are horizontally shrinking by a factor of 4/5. We know it's a shrink because the value is 4/5. It's less than 1. Remember, this is our reciprocal, our 1 over a value. So when we write our rule for g of x is going to be equal to f of 5 over 4x. Remember, 4 over 5 was our reciprocal. 5 over 4 is our actual a value that gets stated in the equation. So remind yourself again that the 5/4 is our actual a that gets substituted into the equation. G of x then is equal to, we need to substitute x squared. So anywhere that we see our x, we're going to change it to 5/4 x. And then we need to square that. So again, the 5/4 is on the inside of the grouping symbol, in this case parentheses, and our squared is on the outside. That entire piece, 5/4 x, gets squared.